You know, when veterans finish their service, the first thought for many is, well, it's finding a traditional job, right? That seems to be the main path people look at.
Absolutely. It's the default almost. But what we want to explore today is this whole other landscape of opportunities. Things like starting your own business, becoming a creator, a speaker, an author, maybe a trainer.
Exactly, stuff that maybe gets overlooked, and that's what this deep dive is all about.
And it's not just different jobs. What's really key here, I think, is how these, let's call them new age careers, might value a veteran's background differently.
How so?
Well, we're talking about paths where your unique skills, your experiences, they could actually be a major plus, maybe even free you from some of the usual biases you might find elsewhere. Age bias, stereotype bias.
That's a huge point. And beyond just earning a living, right? A lot of veterans seem to find a real sense of purpose in these areas, using what they learn to help other people develop.
Yeah, definitely. And let's be frank, the financial side can be pretty rewarding too. It's not just about feeling good. It can be a viable, successful career path.
It does make you wonder, though, have veterans sort of collectively missed the boat a bit on this? It feels like a space that's just tailor-made for their strengths.
Could be. It seems like there's a lot of untapped potential there.
So to really get into this, we've been digging into the April 2025 issue of ForceNet Zine. They had a big focus on the self-improvement industry.
Right, and we've also looked at some interviews, stories of veterans who've actually walked these paths.
So our mission today really is to pull out the key stuff. Why might these alternative careers be such a good fit for veterans? Okay, let's start with this whole self-improvement world. What is it, really?
Well, from the editor note in that ForceNet issue had a really interesting take. It's called the self-improvement industry, not just a market, but a movement of transformation.
A movement.
Okay.
That sounds bigger than just selling books or courses.
Exactly. It suggests there's this fundamental human desire for growth, for guidance. People are actively looking for ways to improve themselves.
Which immediately makes you think about veterans, doesn't it? Those core skills, discipline, adaptability, commitment, leading by example. That's baked into the military experience.
Absolutely fundamental. And those qualities are gold in the self-improvement space. I mean, think about it, whether you're coaching someone one-on-one or speaking to a crowd.
That discipline, that leadership, it translates directly.
Right. And the editor also brought up flexibility. That could be a real game changer. Freelance work, consulting, building a career that maybe fits better with life after service, that second innings.
More control over your own path. Makes sense.
And this taps into why veterans might look at this. LT Col Iqbal Singh, in his article, Finding Your Mission in the Self-Improvement Industry, talks about that search for new purpose after service.
Yeah, that need for a mission.
And he suggests this industry offers a really compelling way to use those hard-earned skills in a meaningful way.
So how does he define self-improvement then? What does it actually cover?
He describes it pretty broadly. It's about improving knowledge, capabilities, skills, even character, self-understanding, and overall well-being.
So like everything, emotional, intellectual growth.
Physical, social development.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole spectrum. It's vast.
Which means theoretically there's a niche for almost any veteran's background or interest within that.
That's the implication, yeah. The breadth is significant.
It's not some tiny niche market either. Elliot Call Singh throws out some pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
The global market projected to hit, what was it, over $80 billion?
USD, $81.77 billion by 2032, and growing steadily too. A compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 8.1%.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't some fad. It's a serious growing global industry. North America, Europe, Asia Pacific. It's everywhere.
Definitely not a flash in the pan. It shows a real sustained demand for this kind of stuff.
And tech is playing a big role too, right? Elliot Call Singh mentioned AI.
Yeah, he points to technological advancements, especially AI, as something that's likely to fuel even more growth.
Makes you think how veterans could leverage that. AI for coaching programs, maybe? Or streamlining course creation?
Lots of possibilities there. It's an evolving space.
Okay, let's get specific. LT Call Singh lists several career options. First up, life coaching.
Right. And the skills needed: active listening, empathy, asking powerful questions, goal setting, accountability, strong communication.
Sounds like NCO training 101, doesn't it? I mean, leading teams, achieving objectives under pressure, that's got to translate.
Absolutely. Guiding individuals to define and hit their own goals. Seems like a natural fit.
Then there's executive coaching. That requires more like business sense.
Yeah, business acumen, leadership development know-how, strategic thinking, communication again, conflict resolution, building rapport.
And LT Call Singh specifically says that veterans' leadership experience in high-pressure situations is a huge asset here.
Think about the challenges corporate leaders face. Veterans have often dealt with similar complexity, maybe even higher stakes. That perspective is incredibly valuable.
Okay, what about motivational speaking?
That relies on public speaking, obviously, but also good storytelling, charisma, connecting with an audience, and genuinely inspiring people.
And veterans often have incredible stories, don't they? Experiences that are powerful and relatable.
Definitely. The key is framing those stories effectively, drawing out lessons that resonate and inspire change.
Next, personal development training. This sounds very familiar.
It should. Curriculum development, facilitating groups, presentation skills, engaging different kinds of people. LT Singh directly links this to the training and instructor roles many veterans have held.
Yeah, breaking down complex stuff, delivering it clearly, making sure people actually learn it, that's second nature for many.
Exactly. Skills directly transferable to creating and leading personal growth programs.
Authoring and publishing is another one. Writing, editing, storytelling, making complex ideas clear.
And again, it's about sharing those unique perspectives, those lessons learned from service. LT Singh highlights that potential.
There's probably a huge amount of untapped knowledge and experience there that could reach a wider audience through writing.
No doubt. Then there's online education and course creation.
More tech focused.
A bit, yeah. Instructional design, maybe some video production skills, managing online platforms, marketing your courses, things that are more accessible now.
So veterans adapting their training skills for the digital age.
Precisely. Reaching more people, creating engaging online learning.
And finally, wellness and fitness coaching.
This one seems obvious, maybe. Fitness training, nutrition, stress management, motivation. LT Singh connects it straight back to the physical demands and discipline of military life.
Right, that understanding of physical and mental resilience and how to instill that in others.
Exactly. So across all these roles, LT Singh keeps coming back to this core point.
Yeah.
Veterans already possess this incredible inheritance of skills.
Can we list some of those again? It's a powerful list.
Sure. Leadership, discipline, resilience, adaptability, communication, teamwork, goal setting, strategic planning, integrity, character.
It really drives home that veterans aren't starting from scratch in these fields. They have a solid foundation.
A very valuable foundation of skills people are actively looking for.
Okay, let's talk about bias again. The articles don't explicitly say no age bias or no stereotype bias, but the feeling I get is that these fields care more about what you can do and what you've experienced. Is that fair?
I think that's a fair reading. The nature of these roles.
Yeah.
It often comes down to your demonstrated ability, your personal experience.
So if you can genuinely coach someone effectively or inspire an audience or write something meaningful based on your life,
Then your age or maybe outdated stereotypes about veterans, they just become less relevant than the actual impact you're making. Your value is in your skills and your unique story.
makes sense. Now, what about purpose and money? The editor's note, LT Singh, Rajneesh Kapoor, they all mention the deep satisfaction veterans find in helping others grow.
Yeah, that desire to continue serving, to contribute meaningfully. It doesn't just switch off when you take off the uniform, does it?
Not at all.
And this self-improvement world seems to offer a direct channel for that.
And Let Kul Singh is pretty clear that this can lead to a successful, fulfilling career, not just a hobby.
Right. While they don't list specific salaries for, say, a life coach versus a speaker, the overall market growth is huge.
Plus, he mentions big names like Tony Robbins, Oprah, people who've built massive success in this space. And there was that mention of podcasting being potentially lucrative, too.
It definitely suggests the financial potential is there, especially if you leverage your unique angle effectively and connect with an audience. It's about building a sustainable career.
And he gives examples of veterans who've done just that, right? David Goggins, Jocko Willink.
Exactly. Prime examples of using that military discipline and mindset to become really successful authors, speakers, podcasters, consultants.
What's striking about them is how authentic they are. They weave their military experience right into their message.
And it resonates. People respond to that directness, that no-nonsense approach that comes from real experience.
So, putting it all together, it really feels like ignoring these kinds of opportunities could be a major missed chance for veterans seeking something truly meaningful and impactful after service.
Yeah, it seems essential to broaden the view beyond just finding a traditional job. Veterans should really consider where their unique strengths might give them an edge in these, well, these new age careers.
Let's look at a few more concrete examples. Cole Rajneesh Kapoor wrote specifically about coaching as a second career for veterans.
Right, and he makes that connection between coaching and military leadership, developing people, inspiring them. It's the same core function, really.
He also clarifies the difference between coaching and, say, mentoring or consulting. Coaching is more about helping people find their own answers.
Exactly. Less direct advice, more facilitating self-discovery. It's about empowering the individual for the long haul, which can be really powerful.
And the traits, he says, make a good coach: emotional intelligence, active listening, curiosity, empathy, patience, ethics.
A lot of overlap with good leadership qualities, right? Though maybe the emphasis on emotional intelligence and being non-directive is a slight shift for some. But the core ethics and trust were there.
He lists different types of coaching, too, showing the range: executive coaching, career coaching, especially for transitions, life coaching, resilience coaching, even team coaching.
It really highlights how a veteran's specific experiences leading teams, handling stress, planning complex operations can be applied in so many different coaching contexts.
And he mentions the flexibility and longevity of coaching as a career. You could potentially do it for a long time with more control.
Right, that sustainability factor. It's not necessarily tied to a traditional retirement age.
Khalsaj Moeddin's article also touches on this. He helps transitioning officers partly through career counseling.
Which, again, taps right into that mentoring and guidance experience that's so common in the military. It's a natural fit.
Khal Moeddin also suggests corporate training is a good path, given the instructional background many veterans have. Though he does say you need to adapt to adult learning styles.
That's an important nuance. The foundation is strong, but understanding how adults learn best in a corporate setting is key.
And he lists other unconventional ideas too: adventure tourism, parenting coaching, exam coaching, hospitality, financial services. It really opens up the possibilities.
It underlines that veterans should think about their passions too, not just their direct military skills. Those core skills are transferable in surprising ways.
Then there are these really inspiring individual stories. Capt Pooja Mehra, wow, Army officer turned academic, author, motivational speaker, ultramarathoner, even involved in fashion.
Her story just screams limitless potential, doesn't it? Taking that military drive and applying it across so many different fields. It shows what willpower can achieve.
Totally. And Capt Manjula Katoch, another retired officer, went into HR, became a certified corporate trainer, speaker, and she's a triathlete. Real entrepreneurial spirit there.
Yeah, combining her background with further professional development to build something new. It shows how those leadership and communication skills keep paying dividends.
So, wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems clear. Yes, traditional jobs are there, but veterans have this incredibly rich landscape of other options: entrepreneurship, creating content, speaking, writing, training.
And those skills honed in service, they aren't just sort of relevant. They're highly valuable, actively sought after in these spaces, maybe even more so than in some traditional roles.
And maybe the most powerful part is that these paths offer not just financial potential, but also that deep sense of purpose. A way to keep leading, keep making an impact, just in a different uniform, so to speak.
Yeah, in a different arena. Which leaves us with maybe a final thought for everyone listening, especially veterans.
Go on.
Really think about it. How could your unique military experience, the challenges, the leadership, the skills you built, how could that be the foundation for one of these deeply purposeful, financially rewarding, new age careers? How could you use it to keep leading and making a difference? Reflect on these examples, maybe explore some of these avenues further.